Welcome back to another episode of Aunt and Andrew with Family's Everything.
Until it's not. Hi,
Hi,
I was going to say hi, Aunt. Hi, Andrew. How are
hi,
you?
Aunt. How are you?
I'm
I'm in a
fine.
secret
I
location.
know. Yeah, an undisclosed, a secret undisclosed location.
I promise it's not the waiting room of Joe Bonino's next doctor's appointment that we're going to hear about until season 25.
Oh, yeah. I don't think there's going to be a season 25.
Oh,
I
not for
just have
not for Margaret Josephs.
no. I'm going to tell you, you know what? I'm going to get right into it. First of all, I thought the opening scene was sort of amazing because it was Jennifer, and I've got Jennifer's necklace on again. I know
Love
nobody cares,
that.
but I do. Anyways, because her brother Michael was in the opening scene. He is the designer, and he's moving to Florida. But I thought it was funny because Michael's got a lot of personality, and we know Jennifer has a lot of personality. And then little brother Steven, he's got personality, but the parents really have none.
Yeah, totally. And Steven, it's kind of funny. In my opinion, and again, we're just seeing him filming. He's the gay guy. I'm like, come on, Steven, give me a little more pizzazz. You teach musical theater, you're gay,
I
and yet
know,
your
and he's a
brother and Jennifer,
pianist and the whole bit. Yeah.
yeah.
They have a lot of personality for dull parents.
Did you catch Melda get mad that someone hit Jennifer? I loved that.
Oh yeah, she didn't like it. Well,
She
she's
was
the one
fine with
picking up.
it. She was okay with it. Like she was just listening. And then you heard Jennifer then start talking in
And Greek.
Turkish.
Yeah, Turkish.
Turkish
Yeah, Turkish.
when she didn't get it or she questioned her and I feel like Jennifer probably was like, yeah, let's whack her or something.
I just
Anyone who
thought
speaks Turkish,
Turkish.
translate what Jennifer said to her in Turkish.
Well,
In the
they had they had subtitles,
did
but
they?
we don't
Oh.
know. Yeah, they had subtitles, but we don't know if Bravo gave us the truth or not either.
No, we never
They
know.
could do anything like that. I just thought to myself that Jennifer's picking up the bill.
Oh yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
she picks up the bill. I have a feeling she pays for the brother's apartment, the whole bit. I have a feeling Jennifer's paying for everybody.
Maybe, maybe not. You never know. You can tell that her younger brother is very humble. Like in the sense
Yes,
that he loves his life, his
he
job.
does. He
Yeah, and
does.
he's lucky. I wish I was a gay guy walking around being like, my sister's on the Housewives. My sister's on the Housewives. You could even go a little what's his name?
I don't know what's his name.
Who's the guy in La Cage aux Folles? My sister's on the Housewives. What's his name? The one that played that sounds really deep voice. The never mind. Anywho,
Alvin,
so what did you think about
Alvin,
no, he
and
played La Cage aux Folles. He was the one that did it. Harvey Firestein.
oh, Harvey,
He
Harvey,
looks
yes.
like this.
He was, yes, he does. Okay, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that it was a pretty boring episode, but whoever said it was
Again,
only 12 is wrong because they didn't
right.
say next week on the season finale.
Right. No, I think because we're gonna do a retreat and things are gonna go down and then we still have to go to dinner. So I figure we've got 3 to 4 still left.
Maybe 14. Maybe they were wrong. Maybe there's two less versus two more, like two left.
Yeah, maybe this was episode
11.
11. I bet you we have 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Nobody says it has to be an even number. It just usually is. Back in the beginning days, that you used to have like 9 episodes of Southern Charm.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think
so
we also have to remember that they don't care about odd or even. They wanted 16 episodes and a 3-part reunion, and Bravo didn't get that because these women won't film together, so they're not looking at a certain amount of episodes.
I took away from this episode, before we get to Jen and Teresa, that Teresa is having PTSD.
With what Louis going through, even though it's minor and it's not the same as Joe, and he's a citizen, like naturalized citizen, and all that,
and all of that stuff. I think she's having a little PTSD, but I think it's not just Louis going through this. I think she's afraid that Louis' financials are going to be exposed because I don't think Louis has the money that Louis says he does. Okay. And when Joe Juicy went to prison, Teresa had to pay back like $7 or $8 million between the two of them. Like she had a huge note she had to pay back. And I think, and that was stressful. Her husband was in prison. She was on this show. She got these 4 girls. Amazingly, they all turned out okay. I mean, well, we're not sure about Melania yet, but the other ones are lovely, going to Michigan and Rutgers, and one wants to be a lawyer. I don't have a problem. I think Teresa did a great job with those girls, considering the circumstances.
Oh yeah, Gio was right when she said that.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe they worked even harder, but I'm thinking she's got PTSD. That's all I thought of. Is Teresa's having a little PTSD? Not that she's going to go back to prison. I think Teresa is still like, oh no, am I going to have another guy that I've got to pay all the bills and he's going to be in debt and I've got to, find and work my butt off for $7 million to pay back lawyer fees and everything else. I think she's having PTSD.
Yeah, I will just say, Tree, I think that Jim Leonard, your attorney, made sure that you were protected this time. Just
Yeah, I think so too.
don't sign anything, don't start business,
don't.
and yeah.
But I feel now, would you agree that Teresa doesn't quite have Jennifer's back the way Jennifer has Teresa's back?
I don't think Teresa has anyone's back the way that she wants people to have their back. It's not because she picks and chooses.
Right.
She just expects loyalty that's really difficult to show. And I think that she rarely is put into position to question that loyalty. Like I think that it's rare that Teresa has a knife to her throat the way that she puts knives to other people's throats.
Yeah.
And I think Jennifer kind of checkmate her and she doesn't know what to say because she's like, you're right. I don't have your back. But yeah.
Do you think I found like this episode all of a sudden realizing there's a very different Teresa this season? And I don't know if it's a subconscious loss of her brother, if it's a worry about her husband, if it's her girls are really growing up and taking off, if it's just old to her now.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what it is or if it's all of the above or what it is. But I think she's very subdued. She's not the normal Tree.
She's not. And I think that maybe that has to do with just being intentional to say, look what happened to me when Melissa and Joe were out of my life. And it might be a little forced. It also might just be because like maybe she was so intentional around Louis' situation to not let it really get to her. And that's why you're seeing glimpses of PTSD and like built up stress because she's not allowing like little things, not little, every little thing to get under her skin, which then doesn't allow her to see like what's important to get upset about, what isn't
that could
important
be
to get
because
upset
usually
about.
she gets upset about everything.
Yeah.
And
I
now
also
she's
think
not
Gia
upset
might be
about it.
we don't know we don't know what conversations are happening behind the scenes. It seems like Teresa is like using Gia. Her and Gia have entered like friend zone status as mom and daughter.
As a foil. Yeah, as a
and
friend
maybe
foil.
she's saying to Gia, this happened with Margaret. You think I should, like, what do you think? And maybe Gia's that voice of reason of like, Ma, that's not a big deal. Let that one go. Or, that one is a big deal. This whole thing of
and
like,
then Louis, he's all, calm and collected too.
well, that's because
supposedly.
I think he has his own stuff he's dealing with. But I will say that.
No, I just think he's that way. I think he's a little dramatic.
Yeah, but I also think that I'm just really surprised that like I feel like this Jim Leonard like forthcoming
that's
info
interesting. Well,
session.
supposedly his wife has wanted to be on the show for a long time.
That makes a lot of sense. Maybe he does Teresa's legal work pro bono to stay relevant.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
what I'll say is that I'm just wondering how this is going to go down. Like,
it's going to be interesting.
You're telling me you're going to bring like a bunch of women into the room, and then it's like what? Like I'm bringing in a guest speaker, my attorney, Jim Leonard. Like there's. I just think this is. I hope that Teresa proves what she's saying, but I also just hope that there's no in her closet Teresa's as to why because it just seems very fishy that whatever Teresa is accusing Margaret of doing that Teresa hasn't done over the years to someone else. Just how long she's been on the show, how, like she used to be in this place before Joe in the legal issues where she didn't mind attacking people, and I just hope there isn't some skeleton that someone pulls out.
Well, that's what I mean, because she's her distraction doesn't seem to fit. She wasn't this distracted when Joe was going to prison.
No.
And she's this distracted over a restraining order? That's what I don't understand. That's what seems weird to me.
Yeah. I just hope Louis being honest with Teresa.
Oh, I don't. You know what? I'm going to say this, and I don't think it will happen. But if he ended up to be a fraud worse than Juicy ever was, because Juicy wasn't, I shouldn't say this. I get myself in trouble. Juicy wasn't really a fraud. But he was in for fraud, but he was just thought he was being fakakta with all the books. He
thought he was above the law.
No, he just thought, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to sign this and I'm going to cover up. And so I don't need to show I had income. I'm still going to pay back the bill. But then she went on TV with the water cash. Exactly. And somebody did give her up in a normal world. Joe Giudice would not have gone to prison, and neither would have Teresa.
That, or at a minimum, whoever did decide to bring it forward watched the show meticulously to use the show as a way to prove that they were right, like to just use it as a guide. It did not help.
No, and I think if she wasn't on the show, he never would have went to prison for this.
Probably not.
At all. And
Yeah.
actually, I wonder every day why he just doesn't walk up through the border.
Well, that's
I'm
neither here
just
nor there.
saying.
Wrong podcast.
I say it all the time, though. That's what's the funny part. I saw Juicy has Melania and a bunch of her friends in the Bahamas this week, and they're having a good old time. I think Juicy's living his best life. I think there's a part of Juicy that thinks if you don't follow Juicy Joe, go to Joe Giudice on Instagram, follow him because he's hysterical. I could watch him all
Joe
day.
Giudice, by the way, too.
Well, just put in put in Melania, and she follows him and she mentions him all the time. Why was this the first time anybody went to Rachel's house? That's what I want to know. It's her second season. We haven't seen her house yet.
I don't think Danielle did because Danielle wasn't friends with her last year.
I know, but is it I mean, like I was looking at it outside. First of all, the front door isn't the front door. It's like a side door by the garage that they all came in, rang the bell.
I mean, let's just be honest here. Teresa's house took years to finish. Melissa's house took years to finish. Margaret's house looks years to finish. Dolores has had like 6 house flip 4 houses.
True.
So maybe she's just trying to be with the trend.
Maybe because I don't know. They were like, "Are you in construction? Like, what'd you do? It was a ranch, and we put 2 floors on it. I mean, that's not easy. It doesn't look like a ranch to me. That's all I'm going to say. But I am going to say, Jen Fessler, by far, in my opinion, and everybody else, leave us a comment. Tell me what you think. Has the best house out of them all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, she's just got a nice house.
She does.
It's
nice,
not
normal.
opulent. It's
She
not,
didn't
but
build
it's
it. It was bought that way. It was planned correctly. It wasn't.
It's nice outside. It's nice inside. It's not through the roof crazy ornate Italian crazy. Nothing. She's got the best house. That's what I wrote down. Jen Fessler has the best house.
I will also say though that that's because like it was built by an architect for any type of rich person that has the money to buy it, not a specific person that needs this and that because they picked it. And then it's like, okay, but who else would want that? Like, I think there's a lot of things about Teresa's first house that like were very much custom and designed for Teresa. And it's like, that's probably why it took so long to sell is like, you need to have the personality to want that.
Of course.
Whereas just Jen Fessler's house is going to end up going for more than asking because it's more versatile of a house.
Yeah, where like Aiden's house, it's just this vast empty space.
But then also when you see like the view from above, you're like, that house is so close to the other one.
Yeah, side by side.
Yeah.
Side by side, totally. Okay. Big Phil. I go back, keep on going back and forth on Danielle. I'm gonna say Danielle's having a bad. I don't know how you feel about Danielle. She had a great first season. I don't think she's having a good second season.
She's having an identity crisis on the show.
Oh, is that what it is?
And I don't know why, because like she had one of the best first seasons, we were saying this last year, of any housewife ever.
Hard. Yeah, she's trying way too hard and she's too nasty. And I think what she's having is like, well, I was this way last year, she thinks, well, she wasn't. And people loved me. So I'm just going to kick it up a notch and they'll love me more, where instead they love you less. It's like you got to pull back the second season, not go straight ahead. First year is the only year you really get people who they authentically are. The second year, they've been affected by it all. And that's always their bad season.
I think we're also going to find that Danielle holds a grudge. I think she's holding it against Teresa.
Yeah.
I think she's holding it against Teresa. She just hasn't shown it yet. She's showing the grudge right now against Jennifer Aydin because she cannot move past, even though she was late to the party and we all saw it in real time.
Right.
The minute that Jennifer Aydin, it was brought to her attention that Teresa and Jennifer used her to expose that Melissa comment. Everything has changed. She's now brought it up multiple times. She can't believe that she was duped.
Right.
And I think that like, in my mind, what I would do if I was her is I would focus on that versus acting out to get back at people. Because the thing with Jennifer and the hairdresser and the extension, that's such old news.
All of that. Point. Yeah. I agree.
And the only reason why Melissa and Teresa lasted so long arguing on this show was because it was natural and it
was very natural.
It was real and they did caught up on the same thing. It was
Right.
just the same fight resurfacing, but for different reasons. But the core of it was that Teresa and Joe don't get along. Melissa and Teresa don't get along. They don't want to have a relationship right now. And it doesn't matter what way you try it, what thing you throw into the ring. With Danielle, it's like, don't stay stuck on the same story with Jennifer. Look at Jennifer and Melissa. They're friendly now. It looks like they're still friendly. And Teresa
Yeah.
and Jennifer are friends. So
Right.
therefore, it's like, don't get trapped in this, like, I hate her, so I have to hate her and I can't move
Yeah,
forward.
true, true. Well, I think with Teresa and Joe Gorga, what happened to is their parents were alive, then the mother died, then they had to take care of the father, and it was all about the father. And then in the middle of that, Teresa went to prison, and then Juicy went to prison, and then Juicy got deported when he came out and didn't come home, and all of that. And they had to work their way, then the dad died, and they had to work their way through all this. And now it's finally like, okay, you're out of prison, mom's dead, dad's dead, Joe's gone. Let's get back to hating each other. And now they're back to hating each other. But now they don't have that bond of the parent who makes them come back. And then let's face it, Joe crossed the line with those girls and they hate Uncle Joe now.
Yeah,
It
no, I
doesn't help
agree
because
with
they
that.
want nothing to do with Uncle Joe. They're never going to be a family again.
No, 100%. And I will say it's not just the show, but it is a big part to do with the show and just the way that you just laid out that timeline.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time that the Judices and the Gorgas were able to have a year-long period without death or cameras? Just to work on a real relationship without any documentation or any turmoil.
15 years,
20
right.
years almost. Yeah,
Yeah.
15,
Yeah,
20
yeah,
years.
yeah. Yeah.
How can you,
They can't.
we know in like 3 years without human connection what
Yeah.
can happen.
Right. Yeah.
So imagine 20, 15, 20. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not even fun to think
Right.
about
Totally.
because of it.
Totally. Let's see, what else did I put? I will say when Teresa, you want to know what I took away from Teresa and Jennifer going out to lunch together? First of
Mm.
all, Teresa looked like little Miss Chanel. And the food looked good. Otherwise, I thought the whole thing was a little manufactured, and it kind of reminded me of Shannon and Heather the other night in OC.
Oh,
This um
why do you think that? Do you think it's because they're like long-term cast members? So it's like you can't force them to have a conversation that they don't want to have? Like it's not real? Like, what do you think it is?
I don't know. You want to know what else I think was one of the biggest takeaways is that Dolores has got major car game.
Oh, yeah, she's got a sweet Bentley.
Now she had the Bentley, and this week she was driving her $200,000 G wagon. Well, we know it's not hers. We know it's Paul's, but still, she got
You
some
cut out, what
major
was it,
car.
Maserati?
No, it was a G wagon, a
Oh, yeah,
Mercedes
yeah, yeah.
G wagon. This time she was driving the $200,000 G wagon. Last week she had the Bentley, and she can't drive very well either. What else you got? I will say that Jennifer got to the party and she really has no allies.
None. And I think her
None.
reaction to the person falling off the cake was great. And if Danielle really did that on purpose, that was pretty shady. I liked that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, but I still think I'm
I
just
don't
not
think it was not done
feeling
on purpose. I
Danielle.
think it fell in the car.
Yeah, probably, but she let it be shady. Yeah, I thought the party was just like, eh.
And
And
that's why I have to say, Margaret, you're really shooting yourself because Margaret Josephs, she's very quick and witty. And if she wasn't such an idiot, then like she would just have so much more to offer. It's
yeah.
really sad.
Well, because they're also busy maneuvering behind the scenes, it seems.
Yeah, because that's worked for a while and now it's going to blow up in all their faces and they're all going to be laid off.
I don't think that we're going to see this cast again.
I think we're going to see a shakeup. And I think it's going to be, I hate to say this, I think it's going to be Danielle and Fuda and then a bunch of young women their age.
Oh. And then bring the others in and friends occasionally here or there.
Maybe. Maybe Gia Judice.
No, she's too young.
She has her new show coming out anyway, this stupid one about the kids with Brielle Bierman and
Oh,
Meredith
that I would
Marks.
watch. I'd probably
They're
watch that.
filming right now.
Oh yeah, who's it going to be on?
Brooks Marks is in it, Meredith's son.
I bet it will be good.
Brielle
They should
Bierman,
have a Big Brother edition.
maybe.
I think it would be good.
Who's your
Who's your
mess?
mess?
Yeah.
um, How was yours?
I'm gonna have to say that mine is Fuda because I just thought that for the first time of her having people over, it was not impressive.
No, I don't think it was bad. I just don't think there's any, you know what it is? I think some people do these big houses and stuff. There's no, and they do all white. There's no warmth. I just didn't feel warm in her house. Like compared to Fesla's. Fesla's house, you would feel warm and comfortable in. I don't like what food is doing with her house. Not that anybody cares. Nobody
I
cares
did
what I
like how
think.
Danielle had no problem telling Fuda's kid to shut the door and that they'll buy their fake cookies after. Because that's natural. That's just me and a mom being like, okay,
I
honey,
did.
we'll get them later.
Oh, I do
Shut the
want to
door
say
now.
one thing. Joe Gorga was a typical Italian, and if you're insulted by that, sorry. He was a typical Italian because there's nothing an Italian won't try to do by himself at the house. Like if he says he's going to go cut the tree, he'll go cut the tree. And you know what? Cutting his arm off isn't too far off. I mean, like it wasn't that much of a stretch because I've seen all kinds of things happen. That's all I'm going to say. But if a tree needs to come down, they ain't calling somebody. They're getting up with the hack, with the saw, and it's coming down, and they don't even care which way it flows. That's a
Exactly. And I thought
very
that Bravo
Italian
shot
thing.
that scene very well because it looked like he was halfway up the tree, about 30 feet in the air. And then
He
when you see
really
it come
was.
down, the tree's up on a hill. So they shot it from below the hill and it looks like he's way up. And then when you
Yes.
get level with the tree, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
he's only about 6 to 8 feet up in the air.
Yeah. And you
And
know what else? We haven't seen a lot of kids this season. We haven't seen the Aiden kids. Um, we haven't seen Teresa's that much.
but don't you think that a lot of that may have to do with the fact that
Their
they got
schedule.
physical early on?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Because Joe, we haven't seen the Gorga kids, I guess we've seen a bit. We're seeing these little kids. See?
Because that's the
Oh,
fun thing. That's the
yeah.
fun part of it. And I think even when you think back, the only adult, like you didn't see Dina's daughter, but you did see Danielle's daughter because she brought her everywhere. But you really didn't see like it was different. I think it's just different. They don't want the kids that are like that have formidable brains to be like watching these women like rip each other to shreds.
Yeah, that's true too. So maybe they keep him away. Like in the
Maybe.
OC with Sammy hearing about the threesomes.
I hope they actually go
Not
on this
OC, it was
retreat.
Beverly Hills. Yeah, I hope so too. Let's see if it happens.
That's the thing, like, I'm wondering if, like, maybe Teresa's lawyer party ruins the retreat, ruins the trip, and then it's like we go to like, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see. All I can say is this: cherish the moments you have with these women because it's ticking, tick,
Yeah, tick
tick,
tock, tick
tick
tock.
tock, tick tock. And follow us, like us, subscribe us, comment us. We love you guys so much, and we'll see you for OC. It'll air on Monday. The episode will come out on Monday. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.